Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever just stopped for a second to think about why you do the things you do? I mean, when you decided to watch this today, did you actually author that choice? Or was that decision simply the inevitable result of a massive, invisible chain of events stretching literally all the way back to the dawn of time? Look, I know it sounds like a late-night dorm room hypothetical, but it's actually the ultimate question of human agency. If our choices are just predetermined by the physical laws governing the atoms in our brains, the whole foundation of how we view ourselves kind of collapses. So today, we are unpacking one of the most mind-bending philosophical and scientific debates in human history, the problem of free will. We're going to explore how ancient philosophy, classical physics, and modern neuroscience all attempt to answer whether you are truly in the driver's seat of your own life.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First up, the problem of free will. Second, libertarian free will. Third, determinism and incompatibilism. Fourth, the quantum uncertainty twist. Fifth, brains and readiness potential. And finally, is your future decided? Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The problem of free will, an ancient question.
So, the problem of free will. That exact phrase basically frames our entire exploration today. At its heart, it asks, are we the authors of our destiny, writing the story as we go, or is the script already written for us? For thousands of years, scholars have been trapped in this fundamental tension between our internal, subjective experience of making choices and the external, objective reality of a universe governed by physical laws. Think about it. Every legal system we've built, every moral code we adhere to, every judgment we cast upon one another, it all relies completely on the assumption that we choose our actions. If someone commits a crime, we hold them responsible because we believe they could have done otherwise. But as our understanding of physics and neurobiology deepens, that simple assumption becomes profoundly complicated.
Section 2. Libertarian free will explained. You are in control.
Let's start with the viewpoint that probably aligns perfectly with your daily lived experience. When you look at a menu and you choose, say, coffee over tea, you feel an absolute, unrestricted freedom to make that choice. Well, libertarian free will is the philosophical belief that human choices are absolutely free from predetermined causes. It argues that your conscious mind is the ultimate unburdened source of your actions. You aren't just reacting to your environment, your genetics, or your neurochemistry like some pre-programmed biological machine. Instead, you possess an independent will, a spark of agency that stands above and apart from the rigid physical laws of cause and effect. Proponents of this viewpoint point out that without it, human rationality itself falls apart, because reasoning actually requires the freedom to evaluate different arguments and choose the truest one.
The mechanism behind this is a really interesting concept called agent causation. This is the idea that a being, you, the agent, can start a completely new chain of events that is totally uncaused by prior history. Just think about what it truly means to be a prime mover in a physical universe. In a reality where every single thing that happens is just the result of something that bumped into it a moment prior, agent causation suggests that human beings are the grand exception. We can spontaneously generate an action out of nothing. Nothing forced your hand. You initiated the action from scratch. It's a beautiful, empowering idea that places the full weight of responsibility and authorship squarely onto our shoulders.
But what if cause and effect rules absolutely everything? Seriously, think about that for a second. If every single physical event in the universe is caused by the exact event that happened right before it, where does that leave your free choice? Let's flip the paradigm here.
Section 3. Determinism and incompatibilism, the chain of events. Classical physics operates on a very strict principle. The universe is an unbroken chain of cause and effect. Think of reality like a giant cosmic game of billiards. If you strike a billiard ball, it moves, right? And its entire trajectory is determined mathematically by the angle of the cue, the force of the strike, and the friction of the felt. The ball itself has no choice in where it goes. Well, determinists argue that humans are fundamentally made of the exact same physical stuff, atoms and molecules, as those billiard balls. And this leads us to incompatibilism. This is the view that determinism and free will cannot both be true. They are fundamentally opposed. If the universe is deterministic, meaning every single action has a prior physical cause stretching in an unbroken line all the way back to the Big Bang, then every thought you have and every move you make was mathematically guaranteed to happen billions of years ago. Genuine, uncaused choice, in this framework, is simply an illusion generated by your highly complex brain.
So now, we're facing an absolute philosophical deadlock. On the left side, we have libertarian free will. You are the primary uncaused cause of your actions. On the right side, determinism.
Prior physical events cause your actions. The philosophical stakes here are absolutely immense. These two perspectives cannot coexist. If determinism is entirely true, then your feeling of freedom is really nothing more than a biological trick, a useful evolutionary illusion that just keeps you functioning. But just when classical physics seemed to have firmly closed the door on the concept of free will, physics itself radically changed the rules of the game.
Section 4. The Quantum Uncertainty Twist. Physics breaks the rules. Enter the 20th century and the revolutionary discovery of quantum mechanics. As scientists zoomed in on the absolute tiniest particles in the universe, we're talking electrons, quarks, photons, they realized something completely wild. At a subatomic level, the universe doesn't behave like predictable billiard balls at all. This brought us the uncertainty principle, a concept where the precise properties of particles cannot be known simultaneously, which introduces fundamental randomness into the very fabric of reality. This is a monumental scientific curveball and mathematically proves that physics isn't perfectly predictable. The strict determinist argument, the whole idea that the universe is a fixed, unbreakable chain of events, is literally shattered at the microscopic level. Famous physicists like Albert Einstein notoriously hated this idea, famously stating God does not play dice with the universe. But decades of experiments have proven that actually, fundamental reality has a wildcard built right into it.
But hold on, we have to ask the obvious question. Does randomness actually equal free will? If a subatomic particle in your brain randomly zigs instead of zags, causing a neuron to fire, which then causes you to reach for a cup of tea instead of coffee, was that really a conscious, deliberate choice? Or was it just a random, meaningless quantum misfire? Many contemporary philosophers argue that quantum randomness is absolutely no better for free will than strict determinism. I mean, we want to be the authors of our actions, deliberately weighing options and making rational choices. We definitely don't want to just be subjects to random atomic dice rolls happening in our skulls.
Section 5. Brains and Readiness Potential. The Neuroscience Shock.
So leaving the quantum realm behind, researchers have recently turned to the biological machine itself. In recent decades, neuroscience has entered the free will debate, attempting to physically measure the exact moment a human being makes a choice. And the results are genuinely unsettling. Back in the 1980s, a researcher named Benjamin Libet conducted a series of groundbreaking experiments. He hooked subjects up to EEG machines and discovered something called readiness potential. This is a measurable buildup of electrical activity in the brain that occurs right before a voluntary muscle movement. Libet told his subjects to just spontaneously flick their wrist whenever they felt the urge to do so, and he asked them to note the exact millisecond on a highly precise clock when they felt the conscious desire to move.
The timeline of these events completely flipped our understanding of the brain. Here's how it breaks down. Step 1. Subconscious brain activity spikes. The readiness potential builds up. Step 2. The subject becomes consciously aware of making a choice to flick their wrist. Step 3. The subject takes physical action and the wrist moves. The profound shock here is the order of operations. The subconscious brain activity, the physical brain gearing up to act, happens hundreds of milliseconds before the conscious mind even realizes a choice was made. The biological machinery in your skull has already initiated the movement before the conscious you decides to move. To many neuroscientists, this suggests that our conscious feeling of deciding is just an afterthought. It's a notification generated by the brain after the subconscious has already pulled the strings. Wild, right?
Section 6. Is your future decided? Synthesizing the clues.
We've journeyed through some incredibly diverse and complex fields of human knowledge today to try and crack this mystery. So, let's pull it all together. The libertarian view argues passionately that we are the ultimate source of our choices, maintaining that our daily lived experience of freedom and moral responsibility absolutely must be real. Conversely, the determinism view counters that the strict laws of cause and effect rule out free will completely, reducing us to complex biochemical reactions playing out a pre-written script. Then, we saw how quantum mechanics throws a wrench in determinism by adding unpredictable randomness to the universe, though we realize that random chaos isn't exactly the same thing as free will. And finally, neuroscience has shown us that our subconscious neurological action actually precedes our conscious feeling of making a choice. Understanding all these perspectives is absolutely crucial because it shapes how we view justice, blame, praise, and our own personal agency in everyday life.
I want to leave you with this profound, lingering thought. Based on everything we just explored today, the unbroken chain of cosmic causes, the unpredictable quantum realm, the electrical firing of your subconscious neurons, was your decision to watch this explainer truly yours? Did you author that choice, or were you literally always going to end up right here, right now? Think about that the next time you make a decision.
Thanks so much for joining me, and keep questioning the nature of the world around you.